And so I'm out in Vegas, Las Vegas, competition team. I'm in college, construction management, and we're coming back. And I guess to save money, they booked us the red-eye flight from Vegas to Orlando, and we had a short layover in Charlotte. And so, you want to get sleep on that first flight. You've absolutely got to, because the next day you're going to be absolutely wrecked. So I had a bottle of those gummy melatonins, and my buddy went to I guess it's like a pharmacy or the store in the airport, and he bought a bunch of Benadryl. So I traded him, a handful of melatonin. He gave me a couple Benadryls, and we were out like a light. But we didn't take into account the short layover in Charlotte. So we get off the plane, and we're absolutely sprinting. And as you can imagine, the melatonin and the Benadryl in my system is just, I feel like a zombie. I'm just running, I'm tripping, I've got all my luggage. I'm a total mess. But yeah, thankfully we did make it. We barely made it, but I feel like in that moment, I needed an upper, if you will. Something clean, nothing bad for me that's going to give me cancer. I feel like Orka Energy Water would have really been just like the perfect little hit in that moment. But yeah, that's just a little anecdote into my life. So
that's a fascinating story. Thanks for sharing that. Well, it's funny you say Orka Energy Water, because if our listeners are watching, they're going to be seeing two random handsome fellows on the other side of this screen. And they're going to be wondering, who is that? And why does one of them have a hat on called Orka Energy Water? And we have Nash and Mike with us. If y'all will take a few moments to introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Nash.
I'm Mike.
Thanks for having us on today.
Yeah, we are the co-founders of Orka Energy Water, hoping to provide pumps of energy to people everywhere. So
let's go. So how we start off is we're going to ask a simple question. What'd you do this week? And I'll start us off, and then we'll go Nash, Michael, and then Brett. Here's what I did this week. We have a volunteer appreciation night coming up for the church I work at, and we're doing funny videos. And one of the funny videos is that it's a Billy Mays. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of Billy Mays, the OxyClean guy. So we did a play off of that, and it's an attitude remover. And so we just started pouring attitude remover or OxyClean all over them, and it would cut to random scenes of people arguing, and we would just spray them down with a hose. And it was just all out fun. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming up next Sunday night, I think. Then, so we play pickleball every Friday with my friend Connor, and it rained in Gainesville. And I don't know if y'all have ever played pickleball in the wet weather outdoors, but it's not fun. And so what we did is not play pickleball in the wet weather, but it just so happened to be there is an arts and crafts festival happening at the senior center that was attached to where these pickleball courts are. And it was quite fun, honestly. We went in, we walked in. You could sign up for a senior citizen golf tournament. The Girl Scouts were there. They're handing out free cookies. I mean, it was an all-around win. So that's been my week, a real 9 out of 10 kind of week. How about you, Nash?
I got a maybe good story. We got into an argument on Friday with one of our buddies who thought that he could hit 60 out of 100 free throws if we put him on the line and gave him 30 minutes. And so yeah, we all kind of bickered about how many free throws we thought we could hit, and then we just went to the park and did it. Before I give you guys the results, I'm curious how many you think uncontested free throws you can make out of 100.
That we personally can make?
Yeah.
I played basketball, so I don't want my answer to sound prideful, but I'm going 70.
You think you're a
out of
70% free throw shooter? Well, I'm terrible at basketball. I would consider myself mildly athletic in other sports, but basketball is just, there's no rhythm whatsoever for me. So I'm going to say 35, which is exactly half of what Bo has.
Nice. I'm a 40% free throw shooter, we found out.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So was your buddy, did he hit the 60?
He was closer to 40 as well, I think.
Yeah.
I was 52. I came out on top.
Yeah, he
Ooh.
crushed it.
The hot hand.
Well done. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, this week, I mean, definitely a lot of working for us too. We're gearing up to launch this clean energy water pretty soon, so it's a lot of long hours in the attic here. I'm trying to think of I was also part of this free throw challenge. Also one of the highs of my week. I would say the most notable thing that happened this week was my dog ate probably 4,500 calories last night of muffins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
What kind of muffins are we talking here?
My girlfriend made them. I can't speak on the muffins, but I can speak on the diarrhea at 6 a.m. this morning. We've been trying to watch her weight, and it's just all the progress goes down the drain in one fell swoop.
So she's a big girl.
She's a big girl. She's probably 20 pounds overweight.
Oh, yeah.
We took her on a hike last week. She got up the mountain, but she's huffing and puffing for sure. And it's nights like these that are tough for her weight watching.
Yeah. Maybe she needs Orka Energy Water.
Yeah, for sure. Thinking about putting in her bowl, seeing what happens.
Oh, man, that's funny.
That's good. Well, for me this week, I had to stay home on Monday and work from home. Stetson, my son, he had a double ear infection, so it was not a fun experience. I love being with him, but he was really needy. But he's a baby, so babies are needy. So I had to do conference calls and everything else with him right there. Usually the easiest way to just put him in the stroller and walk around and do it. That way he's distracted by all the stuff that we're walking by. So that was Monday. And then yesterday we took our family Christmas pictures at Nathan Benderson Park, which is like this massive lake here in Sarasota where they do like Olympic rowing qualifiers and stuff like that. And then after that we went and got dinner with some friends, and it was overall just super chill. I was doing a little bit of a 48-hour fast before that, and they made some delicious roast with like carrots and those tiny little potatoes. Oh man, it hit the spot. It was perfect.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That sounds like an excellent week. Alrighty, as we transition, we're moving to talking all about the Orka water. First question, what is the meaning or purpose, whatever you describe it as, behind Orka water? Orka Energy Water.
So the literal meaning of Orka, it's basically an Icelandic word for energy. I think we also liked it, the name, because it's kind of like the opposite of a Red Bull, kind of like a cleaner, water-based animal. So I think that's where the name came from.
I love it. I was perusing okabeveragecompany.com, and you get to see the notable Orka activities. So for our listeners, if you go to okabeveragecompany.com, go ahead and go find those notable Orka achievements, as they say.
It's all whale-based success. We don't limit it to just orcas, but all whale-based success we celebrate.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
I'm on that train with you.
Yeah.
So if you guys had like 3 other company names, let's say someone came up to you and said, you can't use Orka. If you had, 2 or 3 other names, what would you be going with?
It's a great question. I think, in our naming process, we came up with probably 250.
Wow.
something like that. It took us months and months and months to land on one. I think, what were the leading name?
We got deep in the naming process. We were considering some really wacky names. I think like stuff like mailbot. We were deep in the sauce. I think Breakwater was one that was a good contestant. There's a surf break right near us called Breakwater.
Snapwater.
Yeah, those were some of the more between the lines names, but it's tough. Like, there was a lot of stuff we couldn't do until we had a name. Like, you can't start the branding and, company formation and all this. So it was, but I think we're really happy with Orka. People seem to like it, recognize it, remember it.
We were basically trying to decide, like, do we use the name as an opportunity to, like, stand out and name it something like Nash said, Mailbox, or like, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or something insane. Like, people would remember. And so we kind of toyed with those for a while. I think the leading one of those was Modus Tollens, which is like, we actually loved for a second there because we thought it was sophisticated and it's a logical concept, I guess. It's like an academic term. And then we would tell people what the name was, and they would be like, they'd forget it in 15 minutes. And kids can't pronounce it. And so we stuck with the principles, which are like, 4 letters, no more than 2 syllables, like easy to spell, kind of use an empty vessel take on it, and just trying to inject meaning into Orka rather than name it something that has meaning currently, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Here's a question. Why Orka with a K and not Orka with a C?
A few reasons. One, legal and trademark reasons, which is why we kind of set up that whale-based success and wanted to make it clear that we don't associate with whales, despite us celebrating them. Like I said earlier, the reason we originally had Orka on the list was because it is the Icelandic word for energy. That was kind of one of the ways we looked for names. Like, we looked up 1 billion different words in different languages, and yeah.
That makes sense.
I think the Orka word for energy came first, and then it was like, oh, it sounds like Orka with the C, and then I was like, that works too,
Oh yeah, it does. So Orka with a K is a different word than Orka with a C.
Yeah, different word.
Praise the Lord. So why develop an energy water than a standard energy drink like that Red Bull?
I think the world's got enough standard energy drinks. And we were trying to solve a problem with energy drinks. And that being that they kind of all taste like super sweet and like candy. And so we think energy water is the way to solve that problem.
I'm with you. I have had a couple of rains in my life, and I tell you, it's something else. It's like a different experience. It doesn't feel good going down the hatch.
Yeah.
Though the short-term effects really get you hyped right after I'm on the bed, ready to go to bed. So it really puts me down.
I don't know if I can say with certainty if I've had a rain, but like, I don't need to have a rain to know what that experience would be like, I guess, which I think is what we were getting at with our idea. It's like you go to the fridge, and we were solving a problem that we had ourselves with energy drinks. Like, I drink energy drinks every day. I love that. And we go to the fridge, and it's like every single one in there kind of is basically soda right now. It's like mostly carbonated, sweet, and despite the labels, tastes sweet. So I'm sure that applies to rain, and it applies to every other drink that we've tried and looked at. So that's why we went with water. It's like, why not just take on caffeine and put it in water? Save me the soda taste.
Yeah, I feel like the majority of those kind of classic energy drinks, you drink it, you feel like you got Pop Rocks in your heart. You're like, man, this is this is great, I guess, but this is not going to be good for me long term. But yeah, that's pretty huge that y'all are kind of charting your own path there. And I think you're really going to hit a market that's looking for energy, but, you know, not sustain those long-term consequences. So that's pretty huge.
Put down, and I mean, I love energy drinks. Like, I'll throw back a sour candy apple bang and like have violent thoughts and love it, you know, and get jacked up and go to the gym. But like sometimes you want some caffeine and don't want to taste like candy, and so that's where we come in. We love it.
So, what does your day-to-day look like? I guess y'all are hanging in the attic, using those brains. What does that look like every day?
It's pretty all over the place, but as Mike mentioned, we're gearing up for our first production of Orka at the end of this month in November. So it's a lot of coordinating with the manufacturer, getting all the ingredients, the cans to the manufacturer, lining up the freight, lining up the inevitable fulfillment center that's going to ship out the packages once we're up and running. And so just getting ready for that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, half of it's doing it and half of it's learning it. Like we do not come from a CPG background. We've never started a food or beverage company. So it's like just kind of putting all the puzzle pieces together and thinking, oh, you know, we got to put these things in cases and shrink wrap them and like what size case and making decisions and see how that affects the finances of them. How do we launch it? It's like, you know, learning and building at the same time, which is fun, but also a lot of work.
Yeah, that makes sense. It takes a lot of initiative, a lot of hard work, and probably a lot of energy, water, and drinks to accomplish this. So if you were to if you had one type of person to sell to, and you may have mentioned this earlier, who is that person?
That's a good question. I think that our real target consumer is someone who drinks energy drinks, like some of the ones we've talked about, Celsius maybe, and is just kind of a little bit fed up with the way it tastes and wants something lighter, or maybe wants to replace one of the energy drinks they have each day with something lighter. I think there's also a value proposition to heavy coffee drinkers who are drinking 2 to 3 coffees a day, and maybe in the afternoon that 2 p.m. coffee that you're going to have and that's going to give you bad coffee breath, that could maybe be a mint energy water too. So I think we think it's a product that works for a lot of different types of consumers, and you know, again, we're excited to do this first production run, get a ton of feedback, learn more about our customers, and figure out where we fit in.
Yeah, I could just add on. I think maybe succinctly to answer your question, like I think it's us basically. Like we created Orka to solve a problem that we had with energy drinks. Like we drink them. We work corporate jobs and drink them every morning, and had this issue with the taste and it being like soda, and so we created Orka to solve that problem for us. And if there's anything, I know for sure it's that we're not special, and that if we have a problem with it, that other people have a problem with it, and that's what we're trying to find, basically.
So, y'all mentioned previously you had corporate jobs. What was kind of that transition, I guess, or that driver from, you know, working a corporate job to wanting to start your own company in this particular sector?
Yeah, so I worked in healthcare. Mike was a coder in tech, and we started working on Orka sort of while working our corporate jobs, and kind of just, I think it got more and more serious, and then it got to the point where it's like, are we really gonna do this thing? Like we should kind of go all in. Was the tipping point. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah,
I love it. You have a problem, you solve it, and you're willing to take that step. That's cool, man. So a lot of questions that our listeners may have is, how is Orka made? What are the ingredients of it? What is it? What is the definition of clean, healthy energy water?
Yeah, we spent over a year formulating it and figuring out how to answer those questions and get the formula up to fit that definition. And one of the fears we had going in was like, maybe there's a reason why all these drinks taste so sweet, and then like you can't put that much caffeine in water for some reason, like, and that's why these companies haven't done it. And it was hard, but we got it done. And so one of our big principles in formulation was just making it as simple as possible. Because if you look at these energy drinks today, if you turn the can around, there's like 20 ingredients in there. You turn around to Celsius, there's like, you need a degree in chemistry to understand what's in it. And so we were like, let's just make it as simple as possible. So it's 5 ingredients. It's just water, caffeine, L-theanine, citric acid, and natural flavor. And the flavors is super light. It's like squeezing a lemon into a glass of water, basically. And so, 0 calories, 0 sugar. The caffeine is natural, green tea extract. Like, there's no taurine, there's no mumbo jumbo that you would find on the back of other cans.
That's awesome. How many milligrams of caffeine per can, I guess?
150.
150. Awesome.
What is, I'm sure y'all know this, what is that equivalent or ratio to 8-ounce, 12-ounce cup of black coffee?
It's like coffee's between 80 and 100 milligrams, depending on how strong it is. And so, yeah, it's like 1.5, 2 cups of coffee, depending on where you eat your coffee. Like, you could also go into a Starbucks and get a 250 milligram huge coffee. So,
Yeah.
But a standard cup, it's like 1.5 to 2 times the amount. It packs a punch for sure.
I will tell you. Yeah. I'm on that 2 p.m. Some days I'm on the 2 p.m. coffee train. And whenever I saw y'all's company, I was like, oh my goodness. That sounds wonderful. So I love it. Now, I saw this on your TikTok. A lot of people are asking, is it carbonated? Is it still kind of drinks? What's your answer so our listeners know?
It's still. So it's like a super light flavored water, still, no bubbles. Again, most of the energy drinks on the market are carbonated, and we just wanted something super light and refreshing that you could drink and wasn't super physical going down.
See, I think that's excellent. There's plenty of bubble drinks.
Yeah.
Get the still drinks out here.
So y'all mentioned you're doing a product launch. I believe your first one here at the end of this month. Is that going to be like a nationwide deal? Is it going to be local to you guys, or can our listeners go out and purchase this at particular locations?
Yeah, so we're figuring out that we've not locked in an official launch date, so stay tuned for that and follow us on TikTok and Instagram for updates on that. But when we do launch, it'll be available online everywhere in the U.S. And so we're going to start with D2C, and then we're going to be in a couple local stores here in Venice, California for a bit, but the vast majority of your listeners will be able to find us online.
At orcabeveragecompany.com.
OrkaBeverageCompany.com. Exactly.
When someone says Orka is a successful business, what does that mean to you?
That's a good question. I think that, like Mike said, like, we were solving a problem for ourselves that, from kind of what we understand, it seems like other people have too. And so if we can just sort of solve that problem for some group of people and kind of be their drink of choice that, allows them to get energy without, if they don't like the way energy drinks taste or coffee taste, whatever, if we can solve that problem for as many people as possible, I think that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, I think maybe long-term grand grand vision would be kind of just start, because we think of ourselves as starting a new category, basically. And I know we're marketing ourselves as an energy water and like placing ourselves within the energy drink category just because we're solving that problem. We think that, especially early on, is the way to go. But I think long term, we see energy water as being an entire category on itself. So like, do you want a coffee, tea, energy drink, or energy water? And so we're hoping that it becomes coffee, tea, or Orka, long term. That would be, I think if we get someone in the world saying, do you want coffee, tea, or Orka? I would consider that a pretty huge success. Thank you.
I'll tell you, you have 2 people already.
That's
love
true.
you a lot.
That's awesome. So I guess one of the final questions is how can our listeners serve you, if you will? Is it following you on the socials? What all can we put out there for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if this sounds like something that you might be interested in trying, we'd love if you checked us out and tried it. And even if not, I think we've got some plans for some pretty weird and wild marketing kind of stuff that, maybe your followers would like to watch.
Yeah, I think if this sounds like reality, come check us out. Comment on our videos. That helps. Even if it's telling me to get a haircut or saying we're stupid. We want to pump those views up. We just want any sort of engagement, positive, negative.
All press is good press.
Yeah, we've had a few videos that we got like some negative comments on or whatever, and those are always the videos that get shown to more and more people. I think we posted a photo of ourselves like holding a Steve Jobs and Elon Musk like book biography or whatever, and people were like, "These guys read one book, think they can start a company," like stuff like that.
That's funny. Oh man, maybe that's what our listeners should do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, before we get into our last final remarks, I want to hear what song of the week. What is one song that's been speaking to you specifically? And we'll go Michael first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Woman With You by Hello Darling. Up and coming duo out of New York City. I've not been able to stop listening to it. We're up here planning our future with Orka and thinking about launches. There's no better respite than listening to Woman With You by Hello Darling.
That's a strong plug.
How about you, Nash?
I'm going to go with Dopamine by a artist named Mero. That's Mehro. I've been listening to a lot of his stuff. He just released a new single, so I'm all about it.
Not to be confused with Marrow, Marrow, from that of a bone.
Not to be confused.
Oh, Brett.
So my song of the week is Strings by Young the Giant. I know they've got, I think last year they put out like a massive double album. But this is from their first album like 10 years ago. But it's an absolute classic, just such a wavy song. And it's always one that I put on whenever I'm like, man, what am I going to listen to? Just put on that Young the Giant album. And this is one of the best ones from it.
That's good. That's good. I gotta go. I heard this song for the first time. Well, this version of the song for the first time today. It's called How Great Thou Art. However, this song has been alive for a long time because I grew up singing it. But I just started in my car screaming it. So it's a classic. But yeah, would recommend. Like always, these songs, you're going to be able to find them on our collection of the Song of the Week for the Quite Frankly podcast. Well, Michael and Nash, thanks for coming on. Do y'all have any closing comments and thoughts that y'all want to share?
I don't think so. I really appreciate you guys having us on. This was our first really anything, so I appreciate you bearing with us and letting us tell you about Orka.
Oh, the more I know, the more I love it.
Hopefully we both make it and we hop on your podcast in 3 years when you have a huge studio and we're selling millions of dollars of empty water.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what's going to happen is, quite frankly, it's going to open up a store and they're going to be a fulfillment for Orka Water.
Love that.
Alrighty. Well, as always, we love you deeply and we love you generously. And we'll see you in 7 days.